Hello viewer, I wanted to make a quick video discussing the Monster Hunter Reveal marketing plan the team over at Capcom did in preparation for the launch of Monster Hunter Wilds. Now that the game's come out, I think it would be interesting to look back on their marketing strategy and how many monsters were revealed compared to what was hidden, now that we've all kind of played through the game and finished and done everything, and we're sort of just waiting for those title updates now. I think it's a very unique and strange marketing strategy to essentially reveal the entire roster of monsters before the game has released, effectively only holding back the story of the game and not the monster hunting part of the game, which is kind of what most people feel is the biggest part and most important part of the game. Certainly in previous titles the story has taken a back step. If anyone here has played any of the Souls games, it's kind of like showing gameplay for 90% of the bosses in Elden Ring or Dark Souls. It can spoil the fun of not knowing what challenge you'll face next, and fighting the boss for the first time can be very exhilarating as you're, frantically trying to learn its moveset, staying alive, and then also trying to kill it at the same time. I think there are two main reasons why I think their marketing strategy of revealing all these monsters is an issue. But I also think that there are two main reasons why this is actually a good idea for Capcom's Monster Hunter games. So moving on to the bad things, I think the number one biggest thing for me is that it spoils the game. It's kind of obvious when you think about it like this, but it leaves barely anything as a surprise. When I played World, I was late to the party. Playing in 2020, I'd missed the launch and I'd missed the marketing material, and every monster was a surprise for me. It made the game feel mysterious and interesting, not knowing what monster would show up next in each cutscene. That excitement was still there in Wilds, but watching each cutscene hoping for a new monster only to be reminded that I already saw this monster in the marketing material, or I'd fought it before in either a beta or a previous game, knowing what comes next is always seems as it's always seemed to be a bad thing in entertainment. No one wants the ending of their favourite TV show spoiled or the outcome of the story of a gripping film ruined. It's like knowing a character will die before they die. The shock and twists and are turned into a "ah yes, this part" kind of feeling. And that might be cool as hell and awesome to watch, but the magic is still lost if you know what happens. And Wilds made me feel this exact same way. And that leads me into my second bad thing about their marketing strategy. I think it leaves you feeling underwhelmed by the monster roster, specifically the returning monsters. I felt this way fighting the returning monsters of Gravios, Congalala, Rathalos, and Ebony Odageron. I felt as though after their initial hype that the game was bringing back some great monsters I hadn't fought in a while, starting my journey off in Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, it was great to recognise these monsters in Gravios and Congalala. However, that quickly turned into a neutral feeling. After watching the new cutscenes in Wilds, I came to the realisation I am just fighting another Congalala, a monster I've fought 30 odd times in Freedom Unite. If this monster was hidden from marketing and shown as a surprise, I know I would have definitely been much more excited for it. And there was this underwhelming feeling of knowing what monsters will show up and then waiting for them to show up, which was a very disappointing feeling. Now, I think this marketing strategy can be a good thing. So I've got two main reasons why I believe that it's actually worked out in their favour, and I think it's a good thing for the games. I think it can be especially useful to show off unique monsters that seem intriguing. This can generate curiosity and hype for the game, knowing you'll be fighting something you've never fought before in a Monster Hunter title. Seeing Rompopolo, for example, intrigued me enough that I was super excited to fight him for the first time, or New Udra, learning that you could cut off each tentacle. We've never fought a giant flaming octopus before, and that was an exciting monster to fight. Despite knowing I'd be hunting the monsters I'd seen before, the uniqueness of those monsters was enough for me to not be too bothered by knowing what that monster was beforehand going into it. I think my second point about why it's a good thing is it made the encounters that weren't spoiled incredibly exciting. So fighting Zhu Wu or Zhe Wu, I'm not sure how you pronounce it in English, and seeing the second octopus monster, it was a great experience. Not knowing his moves and his super move where he kind of turns himself upside down and inside out and shows his blue underside, that bright, vibrant blue underside, and flies himself across at you. And you're caught off guard and you almost die to it. It made the first time fighting him a memorable experience. Like, I'm able to recall those intricacies of how he flew across. I had to jump out of the way. I still got hit by it, and it surprised me. And I can remember that, but I can't remember the super move of a Rompopolo, for example, or because I'd seen him before in the marketing, or there was no particular moment I remembered when the Kungalala, you know, farted on my face. Yeah, you know, like this. It's not memorable if you fought the monster before. And then also the final boss of low rank was, you know, something straight out of Yu-Gi-Oh! It seemed. These monsters I didn't know existed created even more hype, knowing I'd come to expect a monster I'd already seen before, so then it wasn't one that I'd seen before. That hype was absolutely heightened, and that was a really great experience seeing Zhu Wu and Zoshia. I think in conclusion, all in all, personally, I would have much preferred it if they only showed half the roster and left a few more mysteries in the game than they did. I don't think it took away from the overall experience in a large way, but it certainly tamed some of my hype for a large portion of the game as I was playing through it. So, what did you guys think of the way that Capcom handled their marketing? Thanks for watching. Goodbye.